I crashed my husband's gala with his mistress, and the final reveal silenced the room. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and it is the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. And now, let us return to our main character. The night began the way every nightmare begins, quietly. A polished, expensive quiet that only a millionaire husband could afford to host. Inside the Fairmont Grand Ballroom, chandeliers glowed like frozen fire, and the city skyline flickered through the tall windows, as if applauding the guests in gowns worth more than most people's annual rent. But she was not one of those people. Emma stood across the street, rain soaking the sleeves of her thrifted coat, her fingers tightening around the envelope that had shattered her marriage earlier that afternoon. Her heartbeat felt louder than the cars rushing by. She had replayed this moment over and over, hoping she had misunderstood the message, hoping the photograph had been altered. It had not. Her husband, the man she had married under a contract built on rules instead of love, was inside celebrating a major milestone for his luxury real estate empire with the woman he had sworn he had cut out of his life, his mistress. Emma swallowed the metallic taste in her mouth and lifted her chin. Contracts were meant to create boundaries. Contracts were meant to protect her. Contracts were meant to keep feelings out of the equation. But standing there, staring at her reflection in the glass, she knew one thing for certain. Some boundaries had been crossed long before tonight. She stepped forward. The hotel doorman barely glanced at her as she walked past. Warm air hit her instantly. Lavender florals, polished marble, and champagne laughter. Her inexpensive heels clicked against the floor, the sound sharp and honest, in a room designed to hide every flaw. A server passed with a tray of sparkling wine. Emma shook her head. She needed clarity, not courage. She moved deeper into the ballroom, letting the crowd absorb her. Everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of her husband's world, his empire, his money, his rules, all the things she had agreed to when she signed that contract to save her father's hardware shop. All the conditions she had accepted: attend events, smile for photographs, stay discreet, keep emotions off the record. No love, no expectations, no real marriage. But betrayal was never in the fine print. Then she saw him, Ryan Cole, 40 tall, impeccably dressed, the kind of man who commanded a room without raising his voice. Her husband, the millionaire, the man who had once looked her in the eyes and said, "This is not romance. This is a business arrangement." He was laughing, and beside him, clutching his arm with practiced familiarity, was her, the mistress. Emma's breath stuttered. Heat crawled up her spine, but she did not step back. She did not hide. She wove through the guests with a steadiness that surprised even herself, her resolve solid and cold as glass. Ryan did not see her at first. The mistress did. Her smile faltered. Her fingers tightened on his sleeve. Ryan turned. For the first time since their contract marriage began, Emma watched his polished mask crack only slightly, but enough to reveal something real beneath it. Shock, fear, recognition. Emma stopped 3 feet from him, the perfect distance for a photo opportunity or a confrontation. Her voice was calm. "Ryan," she said, "we need to talk." Gasps rippled through nearby tables. Conversations dropped. A violinist missed a note. Even the microphone on stage buzzed faintly, as if the whole room had paused along with them. Emma did not blink. She had not come to beg. She had not come to break. She had come to end the lie, and deep down beneath the silk dress and the steady breath she could feel it. Tonight was only the beginning. The room did not breathe. Not until Ryan forced a strained smile, the kind he used in boardrooms when a deal slipped sideways. "Emma," he said, voice low, "this is not the place." But Emma stood firm. For months, she had followed the rules written in a contract that never mentioned the word love. Now she was discovering the one rule he expected her to obey without ever writing it down: stay invisible. She did not. "Then you should not have brought her here," Emma replied, her eyes shifting briefly to the mistress, who shrank back as if Emma had just turned the lights on in a dark room. Ryan's jaw flexed. He glanced around, calculating the angles, the investors watching the cameras, the potential damage. Reputation first, emotions second. That had always been his way. He touched Emma's elbow lightly. "Come with me. We need privacy." She let him guide her across the ballroom, down a short hallway lined with framed photos of his past achievements. Each picture felt like a reminder of the world she had stepped into when she signed the agreement that changed her entire life. They stopped inside a small private lounge. The door clicked shut behind them. The muffled noise of the gala faded, replaced by an icy silence. Ryan was the first to speak. "You should not have come here like that." "Then how?" Emma asked. "How is a wife supposed to respond when her husband walks into a gala with a woman he promised he had ended things with? Should I have sent an appointment request through your assistant?" His eyes darkened. "This is not what you think." She laughed, quiet but sharp. "You are going to tell me she is a business contact, a friend, a coincidence." She lifted the envelope she had carried for hours. "Because this picture says otherwise." For a moment Ryan froze. The mask slipped again, not into guilt but into something more complex. Something like worry. "Emma, I need you to listen," he said. "Nothing about this is simple." "It is simple," she said. "You broke the agreement." "The agreement," Ryan repeated as if testing the weight of the word. "You mean the contract?" "Yes," she said. "The one that said honesty. The one that said no outside relationships. That clause," he said slowly, "protected you more than it protected me." Emma's breath tightened. "Protected me from what?" Before he could answer, someone knocked sharply on the door. Ryan stiffened. "We are busy." The door opened anyway. It was his cousin Andrew, impeccably dressed and carrying a tablet. He looked at Emma with thinly veiled annoyance before turning to Ryan. "We have a situation," Andrew said. "The board wants you back on stage, and the press saw her." His chin jerked toward Emma. "This is spiraling fast." Emma caught the implication. She was the problem. She was the disruption. She was the story they did not want in tomorrow morning's business headlines. Ryan exhaled, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "Give me 5 minutes." "You do not have 5 minutes," Andrew said. "And if you make the wrong move tonight, the acquisition deal will collapse." Emma felt a cold ripple through her. Acquisition deal. That was not just a business milestone. That was the project he had built his entire year around. The project he had told her quietly one night would secure his company's future. Andrew stepped closer, voice dropping. "You need to think strategically. Get control of your household issue." Household issue. Emma felt the words land like stones. Ryan's expression shifted. Not anger, not shame, but a weary, tired frustration, as if he were being pulled in 2 directions, each one tearing something important. "Emma," he said carefully, "please let me fix this." She stared at him, feeling a mix of hurt and clarity settling in her chest. "Maybe the real problem," she said softly, "is that you still think this marriage is only a contract." His eyes met hers, and for a brief second she saw something unguarded, something that did not fit within the lines of a legal agreement. But Andrew stepped between them. "If she is going to stay, she needs to stand next to you. Smile. Pretend everything is fine. Otherwise, this becomes a public disaster." Emma inhaled slowly. A public test. In her mind, she heard the very words Ryan had spoken when they signed the contract. "Appear with me at 5 major events." Tonight was one of them. Maybe she still had more power than they expected. Emma squared her shoulders. "If you want me by your side," she said, "then you will have to tell me the truth. All of it. After this gala." Ryan hesitated, then nodded once. "I will." Emma walked past Andrew and back toward the ballroom entrance. Her heartbeat no longer shook. Something inside her had strengthened, sharpened. This was no longer about humiliation. This was positioning. This was the moment when the woman they underestimated stepped into the spotlight. As she re-entered the ballroom, the murmurs swelled. Eyes followed her. Emma lifted her chin, steady and unbroken. If tonight was a test, she would not fail it. She would redefine it. Emma re-entered the ballroom with a steady breath, the kind that comes right before a person chooses who they are going to be. Conversations dipped as she passed. People pretended not to stare, but curiosity hung in the air like perfume. She felt their eyes on her, measuring her, guessing her place in Ryan Cole's meticulously curated world. The orchestra shifted into a softer melody. A stagehand adjusted the microphone. The event was about to resume. Emma made her way toward the front, where the spotlight would eventually land on Ryan. She stood beside an arrangement of white lilies, the scent sharp and clean. Ryan joined her moments later, his posture controlled, his expression unreadable. The mistress had wisely melted into the crowd, now pretending to be another guest, rather than the center of a growing scandal. "Thank you for coming back," Ryan said quietly, without looking at her. "I did not do it for you," Emma replied. "I did it because I am tired of being the only one in this marriage who follows the rules." He exhaled, almost defeated. "I will explain everything after this." Before Emma could answer, the master of ceremonies announced Ryan's name. A wave of applause rose as he stepped up to the stage. Emma took her place 6 feet behind him, exactly where she had stood at every event during their contract marriage. The perfect supporting figure, present, polished, silent. But tonight something felt different. People were not focused on Ryan's speech. They were focused on her. Guests whispered behind raised champagne flutes, glancing back and forth between the wife and the woman they had seen clinging to Ryan earlier. Emma felt the tension tightening around her like an invisible rope, and she understood something. Her presence alone could shift the room. Ryan began speaking about the acquisition deal, the economic impact, the future of Cole Properties. His voice was smooth and practiced, each sentence designed to reassure investors. But Emma noticed something the audience did not. His hands were shaking slightly at the edges. He kept glancing toward her between paragraphs, as if anchoring himself. Halfway through his speech, a donor loudly whispered to another guest, "Is that really his wife? Then who was the woman he walked in with?" The whisper traveled fast, too fast. Emma felt the weight of the moment pressing against her. If she stayed silent, she would look powerless. If she caused a scene, she would torpedo the very deal Ryan had said would secure the company's future. Her father's shop depended on that future. She had agreed to marry Ryan for that very reason. A server passed in front of her, tripping over a cable near the stage. The tray wobbled. Glasses tilted. Champagne sloshed. Without thinking, Emma stepped forward, catching the tray before it crashed to the floor. "Oh my goodness, thank you," the server whispered, flushing with relief. "It is all right." "Go slowly," Emma murmured. The small exchange happened in seconds, but it triggered a ripple in the audience. "That is her," someone whispered. "I saw her helping at the fundraiser last month. She is always so composed. She actually cares about people." Suddenly the narrative in the room began to tilt. Emma did not plan it. She did not need to. All she had done was act like herself, and it created a contrast the entire ballroom felt. As the server walked away safely, Ryan paused mid-sentence. His eyes locked onto Emma, not with annoyance this time, but with something unexpected: pride. It was the first genuine emotion she had seen from him all night. The applause for Ryan's speech came a moment later, steady and polite. He stepped down from the stage and approached Emma, the crowd's attention following him like a spotlight. "You turned that around," he said softly. "I did not do anything," Emma replied. "I just helped someone." "That," Ryan said, "is exactly why it worked." Before she could respond, Andrew slipped in beside them, tension stiffening his shoulders. "You bought us time," Andrew said to Emma grudgingly. "The board is calmer. The press is distracted. But you both need to present as a united front for the rest of the night." Emma lifted her chin. "Then let us be united." Ryan hesitated, almost as if asking permission. "May I?" he said, offering his arm. Emma placed her hand on his sleeve. Not because the crowd expected it, not because the contract required it, but because there was strength in choosing her own posture, in a world that constantly tried to choose it for her. As they walked together across the ballroom floor, she felt dozens of eyes following them. The whispers had changed. The tone had changed. Emma realized something quietly powerful. For the first time since signing that contract, she was not the accessory, she was the narrative. and whatever truth Ryan planned to reveal after this gala, she knew it would rewrite everything that came next. Emma walked beside Ryan as the orchestra shifted into an elegant waltz, the kind designed to smooth over tension, to make people forget that moments ago the room had been thick with scandal. But Emma did not forget, neither did Ryan. The air between them carried too many unspoken truths. They made one slow lap around the ballroom, greeting donors and investors with polite nods. Emma felt the pressure of every pair of eyes that followed them, but instead of shrinking beneath it, she let it steady her. The contract had once made her feel like a prop, a placeholder beside a powerful man. Tonight she felt something shift. She was standing beside him on her own terms. A woman in a sequined navy dress stepped forward. She was a board member, someone Emma had seen in meetings but never spoken to directly. "Mrs. Cole," the woman said warmly, "you handled that moment earlier with such grace. It reflects well on the company." Emma smiled, though her heart tightened at the title. Mrs. Cole. The name had never fully belonged to her, not in the way it should have. But tonight she accepted it as part of her position, part of the story unfolding around her. "Thank you," Emma said. "I believe everyone deserves a little kindness." The woman nodded approvingly before walking off. Ryan waited until she was out of earshot. "You did more than offer kindness," he said. "You stabilized the entire evening." Emma looked at him. "Then maybe you should start being honest with me." Ryan's expression shifted just slightly. "After tonight, I promised you that." She held his gaze. "Do not break another promise." He opened his mouth to speak, but Andrew suddenly appeared again, whispering urgently, "Ryan, the press is asking questions. They want a joint photo with your wife." Emma felt her heartbeat catch. A joint photo meant something. A message, a declaration, a signal to everyone watching that the marriage was intact, even if no one knew what shape that marriage truly took. Ryan looked at her, searching her face for hesitation. "Are you all right with that?" Emma exhaled slowly. "Yes. For now." They moved toward the media backdrop, the familiar wall of sponsor logos lit by bright photography lights. The cameras were already pointed at them, flashing even before they stepped into place. Ryan positioned himself beside her, one hand resting lightly on her waist, the contact warmer than she expected. A reporter called out, "Mr. Cole, is your wife aware of the rumors circulating online?" Ryan stiffened, but Emma spoke first, her voice calm and even. "I am aware of everything that concerns my husband and this company," she said, "and we are handling it together." The flashes intensified. People leaned in. Emma felt the attention sharpen, but she did not falter. Her words had landed exactly where she intended them to. Another reporter asked Mrs. Cole, "How do you feel about the gala tonight?" Emma answered without hesitation, "I believe challenges reveal a person's character. I also believe in standing by the commitments we make." Ryan turned to her slightly, visibly surprised by her poise. Emma kept her focus on the cameras, each flash capturing a version of the truth she was still piecing together. When the reporters finally stepped back, Ryan guided her away from the lights. "You did not have to do that," he said softly. "Yes, I did," she replied. "If this marriage is going to fall apart, it will not be because I stayed silent." He swallowed hard. "Emma, I never wanted it to fall apart." She looked at him, searching for the sincerity she sometimes glimpsed beneath his controlled exterior. "Then you should have thought of that before tonight." They walked back toward the main floor, but the orchestra had shifted again, this time to a slower, more deliberate melody. Couples formed gentle circles across the room. A voice behind them said, "Mr. Cole, Mrs. Cole, would you like to join the first dance?" Ryan hesitated. Emma did too. The first dance was symbolic, public, loaded with implication. The entire room was already watching. Emma took a quiet breath. "If we do this," she said, "you will tell me everything after the gala." "No more delays." "Everything," he agreed. She nodded once. Ryan extended his hand and Emma placed her hand in his. The orchestra rose softly, the lights dimmed to a warm glow, and the two of them stepped onto the dance floor. For the first time since the contract marriage began, they moved, not like two people bound by terms, but like a pair trying to find a rhythm they had never been allowed to explore. The crowd watched in silence. What none of them knew was that this dance was not a celebration. It was the calm before the reveal that would change everything. The dance ended with a gentle sweep of strings, and when the final note faded, a soft wave of applause filled the ballroom. Emma stepped back from Ryan, careful to keep her expression neutral. The moment had felt strangely intimate, but she refused to mistake choreography for sincerity. Ryan squeezed her hand lightly as if asking her to stay close, but she did not return the pressure. A coordinator approached them, whispering, "Dinner will be served in 5 minutes. The board would like a brief word with you, Mr. Cole." Ryan nodded. "I will be there." His eyes drifted back to Emma. "Do not go far. When this ends, we talk." Emma gave a measured nod. "I am holding you to that." He walked toward a cluster of executives gathering near the head table. Andrew followed at his heels, already scrolling through updates on his tablet. Emma took a slow breath and stepped away from the crowd, choosing a quiet corner near a column wrapped in white roses. Her heart was steady, but her mind raced. Tonight had revealed cracks not only in her marriage but also in the life she had agreed to live. She needed clarity, and she needed truth, not more polished excuses. A soft voice pulled her from her thoughts. "Mrs. Cole." Emma turned to find the server she had helped earlier. She offered Emma a grateful smile. "I just wanted to thank you again," she said. "You saved me from getting in serious trouble." Emma's expression softened. "You do not need to thank me. Everyone slips sometimes." The server hesitated, then lowered her voice. "If it helps at all, I saw your husband come in earlier tonight." He looked tense. The woman with him seemed to be pushing for attention. It did not look like he wanted to be with her. Emma blinked. "You are certain?" "Yes." His body language said everything. Emma thanked her, and the server hurried back to work. The words lingered in Emma's mind, unsettling and strangely hopeful. Had she misjudged part of the situation, or was she simply clinging to any thread that made the betrayal feel smaller? Before she could sort her thoughts, Andrew suddenly approached her alone. His expression had changed. The irritation was gone, replaced by something colder and more strategic. "Mrs. Cole," he said, "we need to talk." Emma straightened. "If this is about appearances, I have already." "This is not about appearances," he cut in. "It is about protecting the company." Emma's pulse tightened. From what Andrew glanced around to be sure no one was within earshot. Then he continued, in a low, deliberate voice, "There are rumors circulating that the acquisition deal includes a clause requiring the CEO to demonstrate a stable marriage. If investors think your marriage is falling apart, the deal may collapse. Many people stand to lose a great deal of money." Emma absorbed the information, her breath stilled. "And you are telling me this, why?" "Because you need to understand," Andrew said, "that Ryan marrying you was not just personal. It was strategic." The words landed like ice water down her spine. Emma narrowed her gaze. "Are you saying he used me?" "I am saying," Andrew replied, "that your role is more important than you think. If you walk away now, you jeopardize everything he has built." A simmering anger rose in Emma's chest. "I agreed to a contract marriage, yes. But I will not be manipulated into staying silent when I have been lied to." Andrew's jaw tightened. "Then you may want to reconsider your expectations for tonight's conversation with him." Emma stepped closer. "I will not reconsider anything. If there is truth I need to hear, I will hear it from Ryan, not from you." Andrew exhaled sharply, realizing she was not someone he could intimidate. He turned and walked away without another word. Emma remained still, her pulse quickening. The pieces were beginning to align into a picture she had never intended to see. A strategic marriage, a threatened acquisition, a husband who kept too many secrets, and somewhere, in all of that, the truth about the mistress. As dinner service began and waiters filled the room, Emma looked across the ballroom at Ryan, who was still speaking with the board. A storm waited between them, and she knew the next conversation would either break the marriage completely or finally expose the motive behind everything. One thing was clear. Tonight was no longer just a gala. It was the turning point. Dinner service moved through the ballroom with the smooth precision of a luxury hotel, but Emma barely tasted the food placed in front of her. Her eyes stayed fixed on Ryan, who finished a tense exchange with 2 board members before finally excusing himself. He scanned the room once, found her, and began walking toward her with a determined, almost heavy stride. He stopped beside her table. "Emma," he said quietly, "come with me. We need to talk now." She rose, smoothing the fabric of her dress, steadying her breath. "Then let us talk." He guided her through a side hallway that led to a smaller terrace overlooking the city. The night air was cool, brushing against Emma's arms as she stepped outside. The door closed behind them, muting the chatter of the gala. Ryan faced her, shoulders tense. "I should have told you everything sooner." "Yes," Emma said. "You should have." He took a slow breath. "The woman you saw me with, that situation is not what it looks like." Emma held his gaze. "Then explain it." "She was part of a negotiation tied to the acquisition," Ryan said. "Her family has leverage. She wanted to insert herself into the deal. I rejected it, but she did not care. Showing up tonight was her way of forcing pressure." Emma absorbed the words, but her voice remained steady. "You still walked in with her." "That was a mistake," he admitted. "She cornered me in the lobby. Cameras were already pointed at us. If I had pushed her away, it would have triggered speculation before the board vote." Emma looked out at the city lights. "You are telling me you did it to protect the deal?" "Yes," he said, "but I should have protected you first." For the first time that night, Emma felt the sincerity in his voice. But it was not enough. Not yet. "And Andrew," Emma asked, "he claims this marriage is strategic, that the acquisition requires a stable relationship. Was that your reason for choosing me?" Ryan stepped closer. "Emma, listen to me. I married you because you were the only person who did not want anything from me. You wanted to save your father's shop, not use me. That mattered more than you realize." Emma blinked, stunned by the confession. Ryan continued, voice lower. "Yes, the board wanted stability. Yes, the deal benefited from the marriage. But I chose you because you were honest. You were real. And I knew I could trust you to stand beside me without pretending to be someone else." A quiet beat passed. Emma spoke softly. "Trust goes both ways." Ryan's jaw tightened. "I know. That is why I am telling you everything now." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded document. Emma recognized the format immediately. Legal pages stamped and signed. The clause Andrew mentioned, Ryan said it exists. But it was not written for me. It was written as a safeguard for my company after years of internal power struggles. People like Andrew have been waiting for any weakness to undermine me. Emma frowned. "So he wants the deal to fail. He wants control," Ryan corrected. "And if our marriage looks unstable, he could use that to push me out." The puzzle pieces clicked sharply into place. Emma inhaled. "So tonight is not about romance. It is about survival." Ryan shook his head. "Tonight is about the truth, and here is mine." He met her eyes fully. "You deserved honesty from the beginning. I am asking for a chance to fix that." The city stretched below them in silver light. Emma felt the weight of every decision she had made since signing the contract. She felt the betrayal, the confusion, the unexpected strength she had discovered in herself, and now the sincerity she had never expected to hear from him. "I will listen," she said finally, "but this is your last chance to be completely honest with me." Ryan nodded once. "Then I will tell you everything." Emma folded her arms, waiting. The reveal was coming. And whatever he said next would decide not just the future of their marriage but the fate of the man she had never truly understood until tonight. Ryan rested his hands on the terrace, railing the city lights, washing his features in silver. For a long moment he did not speak. Emma waited, arms crossed, unwilling to fill the silence for him. She had done enough of that in this marriage. Tonight the truth had to come from him. When he finally spoke, his voice was low but steady. "The contract marriage began as a strategy. I will not lie about that. The board wanted stability. Investors wanted predictability. I needed a partner who would not turn this into a spectacle." Emma's throat tightened, but she did not interrupt. "But what I never told you," Ryan continued, "is that there was another threat. Internal. Someone close to me was feeding information to our competitors. Every time I dated publicly, it leaked. Every time I tried to build something real, it was used against me." He paused. "I needed privacy, and I thought marrying someone outside this world would protect us both." Emma frowned. So you chose me because I was quiet? No, Ryan said immediately. I chose you because you were honest. The day you walked into my office with your father's loan documents, refusing to take money you had not earned, I knew you were different. You looked me in the eye and told me the truth without sugarcoating it. I trusted that. Emma felt her heartbeat shift, uneasy, conflicted, but listening. Ryan continued, I knew that if I built a marriage on openness with you, even if it started as a contract, it would be safe. What I did not expect was that the board would use our marriage as a metric for approving the acquisition. Emma's breath caught. So the pressure was not yours alone. No, he said. Andrew has been waiting for a chance to replace me. If the deal fails, he will push for a leadership vote. That is why he confronted you earlier. He wanted you scared. He wanted you to think I used you. Emma remembered the icy certainty in Andrew's voice. His warning suddenly made sense. He said if I walked away, everything you built would collapse. Ryan nodded. Because he wants that collapse. Emma looked at him, her voice softer but firm. You should have told me all of this. I know, he admitted. I kept believing I could protect you by handling everything myself. But that was a mistake. You deserve transparency. Emma stepped closer, her eyes searching his. And the mistress. Explain that without leaving anything out. Ryan exhaled slowly. Her name is Marissa. Her father controls land rights crucial to the acquisition. Months ago she tried to turn negotiations into something personal. I rejected her. She did not take it well. Tonight was her way of forcing a narrative in front of the media. So she wanted to be seen with you, Emma said, her voice steady. Yes, but I did not want to be with her. When you walked in, the look on your face was the worst moment of the night. His voice broke slightly. Because I knew I had put you in a position you did not deserve. Silence stretched between them, but it was different now, less like a wall and more like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Why tell me all of this now? Emma asked. Because transparency was never in the contract, Ryan said, but it should have been. And because I need you to understand that you were not a pawn. You were the only person I believed I could trust. Emma felt her defenses shift, not fall, but soften. She had demanded truth and he had finally given it, but trust required more than confession. Ryan, she said quietly, if we walk back into that ballroom, we do it on equal footing. I am not here to play a role for your company. He nodded. I would not ask you to. And after tonight, she continued, there will be no contract left between us unless we both choose to keep going. As partners. A slow, genuine expression formed on his face, something like relief mixed with respect. Emma, he said, I want that more than you know. She held his gaze, weighing the sincerity, the consequences, and her own heart. Then she said the words that would shape everything that came next. Then prove it when we go back inside. Ryan nodded again, this time with purpose. I will. They turned toward the ballroom door. The next step was not the end. It was the beginning of the real test, the one neither contract nor reputation could control. Emma and Ryan stepped back into the ballroom together, the soft hum of conversations rising as they crossed the threshold. Nothing about the room had changed, but everything between them had. The distance that once felt like a silent requirement of their contract was gone, replaced by a fragile but real understanding. Ryan glanced at her. Stay close, he said, not as an order but as a promise. Emma nodded. I will, as long as you keep your word. They walked toward the center of the room where several board members were gathering for the final announcement of the night. Andrew spotted them first, his expression tightening as he strode over. You two were gone too long, he said sharply. People are talking. Ryan did not flinch. Then let them talk. Andrew folded his arms. This is not the time for bold statements. We need control. Emma stepped forward before Ryan could respond. Control is not the issue. Clarity is. Her voice was calm but firm. If the board is worried about the stability of this marriage, then they should hear the truth from both of us. Andrew's eyes narrowed. And what truth is that? Ryan answered, his tone steady. That this marriage is not falling apart. In fact, it is stronger than you think. A ripple of surprise crossed Andrew's face. He had expected hesitation, maybe silence. Not this unity. A nearby microphone crackled as the master of ceremonies announced that the final remarks were about to begin. Board members shifted toward the stage and the crowd followed. Ryan turned to Emma. "Will you stand with me?" he asked. Emma held his gaze. "Yes, but remember what I told you. Equal footing." Ryan nodded once. "You have it." They moved together to the front, and when Ryan stepped onto the stage, he did something no one expected. He reached back and extended his hand to Emma, inviting her to stand beside him, not 6 feet behind him as the contract had once dictated, but shoulder to shoulder. A murmur swept through the room. Cameras shifted instantly. Reporters leaned forward. Emma placed her hand in his and stepped onto the stage. Ryan faced the audience. "Thank you all for being here tonight. Before we conclude, I would like to acknowledge my wife." The room fell silent. "She has stood beside me through intense scrutiny and pressure, and tonight she reminded me what strength really looks like." Emma felt a wave of warmth move through her chest, surprising and steady. Ryan continued, "Our partnership is real. Our commitment is real, and we move forward together." The applause began slowly, then swelled. Emma stood still, letting the noise wash over her. She was no longer a prop, no longer a contractual figure. She was visible, she was chosen, and the reveal was nearly complete. What came next would decide everything. The applause faded into a lingering hum as Ryan stepped back from the microphone. Cameras continued to flash, but now the room held a different kind of tension, one shaped not by scandal but by anticipation. Emma stood beside him, feeling the full weight of a moment she had never imagined when she first signed that marriage contract. The contract had defined every boundary between them. Tonight those boundaries were being rewritten. Ryan turned slightly toward her. "There is one more thing," he said softly, "if you are willing." Emma met his eyes. "Say it." He faced the audience again. "Many of you know that our marriage began under extraordinary circumstances. What you do not know is that I have relied on Emma more than I ever expected. Her integrity has protected this company more than any contract ever could." A few guests exchanged glances, whispers stirring again. Ryan took a breath. "Tonight I am ending the contract that governed our marriage." Emma's heart stopped. In front of the entire room, Ryan pulled a single folded document from his jacket. The original contract. The one that defined their rules, their distance, their limitations. He opened it, held it for all to see, and tore it cleanly down the center. Gasps erupted across the ballroom. He looked at Emma with real sincerity. "From this moment on, whatever we build will not be based on terms, obligations, or conditions. It will be based on trust. Only trust." Emma felt her throat tighten. The gesture was public, undeniable, and completely irreversible. It was the same kind of symbolic break she had seen in corporate negotiations, but this time it carried something deeper, an emotional truth she had demanded all night. Ryan stepped closer and lowered his voice so only she could hear. "This is your choice now, Emma, not mine. If you want to walk away after tonight, I will not stop you. But if you want to stay, it will be real. No more distance. No more secrets." Emma looked out at the crowd, then back at him. She remembered her father's struggling shop, the lonely nights in their penthouse, the way she had learned to hold her breath to keep from wanting more. She remembered the humiliation of seeing the mistress, the strength she found when the room tried to judge her, and the truth Ryan finally revealed on the terrace. She exhaled slowly. Then, "Let us build something real. Together." Relief washed over Ryan's face, quiet, profound, and completely unguarded. The ballroom erupted into applause again, louder this time, filled with genuine warmth rather than polite approval. Ryan offered her his hand. Emma took it. For the first time, the gesture did not feel like a requirement. It felt like a beginning. They stepped off the stage together as the orchestra shifted into a hopeful melody. The cameras continued to flash, but Emma no longer felt exposed. She felt grounded, present, seen. Tonight she had walked into the gala ready to confront a lie. She walked out with the truth and a partnership built not on paper but on choice. Their new deal had begun, and this time it belonged to both of them.